Hello and welcome to Larissa's Kitchen. Tonight it's back to soup. Creamy roasted garlic potato soup. Now hopefully some of you will be experiencing more seasonable weathers rather than the sweltering 91 degrees we're having here in Baltimore. Nevertheless, let's press on and get this soup together. Let's get this soup started with a list of our ingredients. First off, we're going to need a pound of Yukon Gold potatoes. These have been peeled and cubed. This is a whole bulb of fresh, finely minced garlic, a whole bulb of roasted garlic, 1/2 cup of vermouth, about a 1/2 teaspoon each of kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper, a bunch of fresh thyme sprigs and freshly grated nutmeg, along with 3 cups of chicken stock. I've also got 1 cup of heavy whipping cream that I'm keeping in the refrigerator. We'll add that in last. I've got my 4-quart stock pot on over medium-high heat, and I've got 2 tablespoons of butter in here. We're going to let this melt, and then we're going to add the fresh garlic along with the nutmeg and the salt and pepper to this pan and allow the garlic to sweat for just a few minutes. Okay, we'll add in the garlic, the fresh garlic, the salt and the pepper, and the nutmeg. That's about a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, we just want to make sure that this garlic sweats. We don't want to allow it to brown at all, otherwise it'll taste bitter in this soup. So this is done. This has been about 2 minutes. We're going to go ahead and add our 1/2 cup of vermouth. And we're going to let this reduce to about half. This should take about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, this looks good. Next up is the roasted garlic. We'll stir this in. Then the chicken stock. The potatoes, and the fresh thyme. Okay, we're going to let this soup simmer for probably close to 15 minutes until these potatoes are very tender. In the meantime, we're going to be putting together some crustinis. The first thing we're going to need to do to put these crustinis together is core and finely dice a very crisp sweet-tart apple. This is a honey crisp. You could also use a sweet tango or a pink lady. Now that these are diced, I'm going to toss them with about a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice. That'll keep the apples from going brown. I've got 12 slices of French baguette. They're cut about 1/4 inch thick. I'm going to brush these lightly with a little bit of olive oil and then sprinkle them with some salt and pepper. I'm just going to toast these for a few minutes until they're very slightly golden brown. We're going to top these crustinis with the roasted garlic and walnut puree. For that, we're going to need a 1/4 cup of walnuts along with about 3 to 4 cloves of roasted garlic. We're also going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of cider vinegar, and about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's getting mixed up with an immersion blender. Alright, this is ready to spread on those crustinis. That soup is simmering nicely, so we can put our crustinis together. On top of each one of these crustinis, we're going to put a layer of this puree, and then we're going to top it with just a small handful of apples. Okay, this is done. These potatoes are nice and tender. I can poke all the way through. Alright, we need to get all of these sprigs of thyme out of here. We're going to be using the immersion blender to blend this soup smooth. Now it does have an exposed blender blade, so I don't like to put it together until I have the end in the soup. Alright, now that this is smooth, we can add in our 1 cup of heavy cream. We could serve this soup right now, but I want it to be silky smooth, so I'm going to press it through a fine mesh strainer. Alright, it's time to give this soup a taste. Now I do have a sprig of sage leaves in here. That's just for garnish. I would not eat that raw. I know this is going to be so smooth and delicious. That is perfect.